6 schools who have consistently earned A grades. Teachers are losing teaching time.
First of all, we're not fixing schools. We only have... First of all, we only have 24% of our schools that have met the AYP. In the 24%, which is actually 41 schools across the district, they currently have half of those with the new standard of AYP this year would not meet AYP in the upcoming year because the state mastery percentages are below the new state requirement. Second, it's not fixing schools, ladies and gentlemen. We have 90% of our level 1 and 2 students sitting in A, B, and C schools. It is our requirement as a district to make sure that we are intervening, remediating, enriching, and accelerating our students to meet their individual needs. Just because we have an A school does not necessarily mean that in that particular site there is not only instructional needs but academic needs. We have students that were 5s, became 4s, then became 3s. And yes, the school still is getting a point under state mastery, and they're in the 90% state masteries, but the students have been regressing in that particular site. We have schools that a student has stayed a 3 in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, went to middle school and stayed a 3, but there has not been any learning gains with regards to that child. We have schools in every single school, from corner to corner of this district, we have success. And in every single school, from corner to corner of this district, do we have opportunities to grow and make our students professionally go forward in their career. It is our job as educators to, if a child is here, they need to go where? Here. If a child is here, they need to go here. We can never say we're comfortable with the achievement we received and therefore we don't need to try additional things to enrich and accelerate the student. So it's not a matter of fixing a school, it is a matter of making sure that our students meet the ever-changing expectations.
Even in inclusive classrooms, right?
This one was basically asked and answered. I'm working on it for you. We're working more hours. We're putting in time. There's more stress. How about a raise?
Yeah. A dress.
Rumor control. Is it true you will enter our classrooms, interrupt the learning environment in order to critique teaching methods and effectiveness in front of students?
That is a rumor that I'm glad was brought up, and I'm glad you posed the question because that is an inaccurate rumor. First of all, I have taught in 4 classrooms since school started. And the 4 classrooms that I have taught in have been because they've been instructing something and I wanted to jump in and give additional strategy. The teacher, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is so important that we show the utmost respect that we want in return.
Waiting.
We have students outside that are listening to the speakers. Students who tomorrow we all have to stand before. And it's very important that the behaviors that they listen to are ones of the model that we are for them as teachers and administrators and leaders. With regards to this, I have taught in 4 classrooms since school started. And in every classroom, I've asked the teacher, do you mind if I give an additional strategy? As a matter of fact, the one that I did last week, the teacher herself said, Mr. Hernandez, can you give an additional strategy to my students? And I was more than happy to do that. I taught at the high school level. In one of our high schools, I taught a reading class. I taught in one of our high schools an intensive math class. I taught in one of our elementary schools a 5th grade science class. And I taught in another elementary school a 4th grade math class. That is a little different than critiquing a lesson. I would never, nor have I, ever done that in front of students, nor will I. And second, It is very important that additional strategies that we're utilizing as we are teaching our students is not seen as a critique to a lesson. You know, as colleague teachers, when I was in the classroom, or now you that are in the classroom, and us all, because I have to tell you, I know you don't like to hear this, and I know I got a lot of reaction, but at the end of the day, we're all teachers at heart. And we all have to see ourselves as long-term, lifelong teachers. And so, as a teacher, when you're sharing a best practice in a classroom with a group, how many times do you go in and say, this is a way to look at it, or this is another way? When you're team teaching, when you're parallel teaching with students, two teachers are teaching, the students don't see that as a negative. On the contrary, it's how you do it. And I have to tell you, the 4 teachers, I can share with you the positive emails the 4 teachers sent to me right after that. So this is a rumor, and I'm going to tell you something else. Too often, people are not utilizing a name in front of a phrase when they're making it. Too often, people are using a name to now say something that they've always wanted to say or wanted to do, and feel that they can use a name to push it forward or make it the top of the agenda. Too often, are people misrepresenting these standards we have at the federal government, at the state level, and the moral imperative that our superintendent, our community members, and our school board have put before us to make sure our students receive the best education possible. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not my program or his program or your program. It is our district that we have our students to move forward. Before us, we have the most precious jewels in our hands, and that's our children. Those are the ones that are going to be the future of our society. As a matter of fact, my 5th grade teacher is a teacher in Palm Beach County at Northborough Elementary. And I only found out about that because she emailed me. And she said to me, little did I know that sitting in my classroom in 5th grade would I have the chief academic officer that I was going to work with in Palm Beach County. So in your classroom, listen. In your classrooms, you have the future of our society. It's very important that we take that very seriously.
Okay, that was 4.5 minutes, but I have a better form of rumor control. Raise your left hand if Mr. Hernandez ever interrupted your class and critiqued anyone in your class. Just raise your left hand. Thank you. If you look around the room, there's not a single hand raised. I do want you to notice, when I heard every time I heard one of those rumors, I emailed back, find me a first-hand account of that happening, and there has never been a first-hand account found. So please, get rid of that rumor. If you can bring me first-hand accounts of anything that's wrong, get rid of the rumor.